Hola chulas, thank you so much for clicking on to this video, and if you are new here, well then hi, hello, my name is Kai and this is my little corner of chisme on the internet. And just who are we going to be discussing today, chulas? Well, today we are actually going to be revisiting Miss Foodie Beauty, Miss Chantal Marie. And if you haven't been keeping up with what's going on in the girl universe, well then let me be the one to catch you up. Now before we get into this video, I do want you to know that we are going to be discussing some majorly sensitive issues in this video. And if you are made uncomfortable or you feel like this is too heavy of a subject for you, then I do suggest that you go and watch one of my other videos. So I do want to do some more uplifting content soon because trust me, this has been weighing on me quite a bit and I don't really know what else to say, so.
Can I get your name and where you're from if you don't mind?
I'm Kai.
Kai, can I get spelling for you?
Straight out of Dogtown, K-A-I.
I've made a few videos talking about Chantal now because I've explained it before. I simply cannot look away. I'm totally invested in the situation, and whether that's unhealthy or not, I still cannot say. I have been particularly enjoying a lot of French Fried Girls content. She's a little bit newer creator in the anti-hater nation, whatever you want to call it, community, the Chantal Marie Amberlin girl world community. She has been really following this recent, drug arc that's been on Chantal's channel. She's been monetizing, romanticizing drug abuse and even the abuse of her own self on her channel, which in my opinion is just not it, girl. It's not really the content that people are here for. It's her channel and she's able to run it in the ground if she chooses to do so, I suppose. This revelation that has been going on between Chantal and Dom, where Dom has been called out by Chantal's friend Shannon, and there's a lot of speculation and even evidence, from Chantal herself to suggest that Dom is not treating Chantal well. And when I say not treating well, I mean, he's like abusing her. And this whole thing has been really difficult for me to compartmentalize. And actually, in the first video that I ever made about Chantal, I remember saying that I was highly concerned that she was a person who would find herself in a situation like this, just because I think that she is highly susceptible to things like this. She doesn't have a stable sense of identity and she doesn't have any confidence in herself. So the moment that anyone shows her any attention, she's going to leap at that because she's just been lonely for a long time. And I think that all of these events that we've watched unfold on her channel for the last couple of years really are just we're the perfect storm of things. It was just the perfect situation. Chantal is just, like I said, she's a really vulnerable and susceptible person, and now she is finding herself in the position of a victim. I'm very uncomfortable with how many things that I actually have in common with Chantal, and I will be the first to admit that, okay? But frankly, I feel the need to talk about the situation because there were many warning signs and many red flags in her relationship with Dom before this ever happened, and people have been calling that out from jump. People like French Fried Girl and a lot of other different people in this community have just seen it and have been there before. The situation is really difficult for me because I have also been the victim of domestic abuse, domestic violence. It's just sad to see another person, even a person like Chantal, even someone like Chantal doesn't deserve to go through what she's going through. And it's really concerning to me how many people showed up in defense of Chantal while she was rampaging against her friend Shannon, when all Shannon did was call out the abuse that was happening to her friend. And in my situation, I had a very similar situation happen where I was actively defending my abuser because I was just, brainwashed, basically, into justifying a lot of this person's, even the most evil actions, even the actually criminal things that this person had done. I was out there defending him because that's the kind of thing that relationships like that will do to you. You will lose yourself. You will lose your identity in this person who is, maybe one way when you guys are sober, when they're happy, or when things are good, or whatever the scenario is. But when things are bad, or when you guys are running out of your substances, or you guys are, it's a volatile situation, like, they're a very different person. And Chantal has made that clear, that happens, that when they're doing drugs together, their relationship looks different and their arguments look different. And it's very concerning to me that, Shannon even felt the need to address a situation like this. Like, Shannon wouldn't have come out and been so out of pocket the way that Chantal is accusing her of being if it wasn't something like genuinely serious. And the fact that Chantal, like, cut off a friend that she's had for over like 2 decades is really tragic. It's really sad, but it's not completely uncommon for a victim of abuse to, like, cut out people that just don't understand your relationship, who just don't get along with your abuser, when really what's happening is that Chantal is being manipulated to cross out the people in her life and only leave space for Dom. And that's what Dom wants. That's what any abuser wants. They want their victim to be alone, to be completely and totally reliant on them, to not have any sort of sense of independence or self-worth or self-confidence or anything. When Dom calls your fat boobs or makes fun of your boobs or, teases you about that stuff, it's because he doesn't want you to feel good about yourself, Chantal. Because if you feel good about yourself, then you won't accept the way that he treats you. And he wants you to feel small. And, like, you could never do any better than him. Like, he's doing you a favor to be with you. Chantal continuously asserts that she was a party girl in the past. And I don't really have any, like, receipts to say that that's not true. But she's made a lot of decisions when it comes to the way that she goes about, her partying or her drug use, that someone who has experience in drug culture or in party culture just simply would not make. Like, she's making a lot of day one choices, and I think that it's because she really probably didn't have that extensive of a drug use history. Like, she probably didn't really know what she was doing, and so she got introduced to a lot of these more, like, hardcore substances through Dom. And that's a total, like, behavior change. That's a total, like, shift in who you are and what you do in, like, your daily activities. Like, dude, to just go from, like, one day not doing hardcore drugs to all of a sudden, like, using a meth pipe, like, that's a sudden shift in behavior if I've ever seen one. And I think it comes from that influence, that, like, overwhelming influence that Dom has over her. In my case, my political beliefs changed. Political beliefs that I had formed in my early, like, adolescence were changing, like, overnight. My belief system changed. I completely adopted a whole new way of thinking and perceiving the world and culture, and my identity completely changed to accommodate what this person needed from me. My identity was taken away from me, essentially. Like, I wasn't allowed to be myself, and every time that I showed any amount of, like, I want to do my own thing, or I am interested in things other than this person or other than this relationship, they were immediately cut off. All of my friends, I wasn't allowed to see my best friend of almost 8 years because they didn't get along. It happens in these relationships. That's just the way that it goes. That's what an abuser wants. He wants you to feel bad about yourself, he wants you to not have any other sort of support system, and wants you to idolize him, to make that he could do no wrong in your eyes. That's how he wants you to see him, because it gives him a license to do and to say and to act however he wants, to treat you however he wants, however he should feel in the moment. The fact that Chantal has finds herself in this position, or is, this person has this power over her because of her addiction, because maybe she feels like, in order to get what she, the substances that she wants, then she has to go hang out with this person. Or in order to get the attention that she wants, then she has to, put up with the other, not so great things about this person. I really relate to that feeling of just wanting someone to give you their time, to give you their attention, or just to say that you have someone at all. Like, I really understand that. Like, I was very much without a support system when I met my abuser. I was very much someone who did not know who they were, who was not strong in their identity. I had no real clear path, no, like, I don't know, I was just so young and naive. I didn't have my own perspectives. And so someone was able to just like glob onto me and basically take over my mind and just put in whatever they wanted to. And a lot of that stuff I've carried with me for a long time. That's trauma that I have for the rest of my life, that I have to carry with me everywhere that I go, with every relationship that I have, just in every instance of my life. The way that Chantal is treating this situation, and she's really running away from the truth, which is 110% something that I did. It took a lot of people to basically like open my eyes to what was happening to me. But the strangest part of it is that Chantal seems to be living in this dual reality where she is aware that she doesn't really like the way that Dom treats her, but she's continuing to allow this to happen to her, even though I think there is a part of her that feels wrong about it, that feels like maybe this isn't right. But then, of course, when she is, getting ready to go to the trap house, to meet Dom, to go do drugs, or to go, have lots of consensual sex, well then, he's the greatest guy in the world and he can do no wrong and she can do no better. And it's the greatest love story that time has ever told. And that's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did. I would literally go to work for like 6 hours at a time and throw endless shade and talk all this nonsense about how this man is actually really hurting me and really ruining my life. And then I go home to him and he's my world. He's everything to me. He's, my best friend, my partner, my whatever, like that's the fucked up part about it, is that you really do live in two different worlds at the same time, where you are aware that you're not happy with what's going on and that what's happening to you isn't okay, but you don't really know how to talk about it. And it might take you a long time to figure out that you can talk about it, or that there's something that can even be done about it, or maybe even that you don't deserve to have that happen to you in the first place. Really irritating to me to watch people in this community come for creators like French Red Girl for not wanting to associate themselves with the Hater Nation, group or whatever, like the label that and the implications of that comes with. In my opinion, I think that FFG really, really cares about Chantal, like as a person, because she's a good person who has empathy and has been in this exact same situation before. And this situation is really making me like question how many creators, that react to Chantal are doing it because they want her to succeed, or if they're just doing it because they get views and they get clicks or whatever. I haven't been watching like Chantal's content. I've only ever watched Chantal through reaction channels. But I've come to understand things about her. Like, there are a lot of ways that I do relate to Chantal. I understand what it's like to have like a negative self-image and to have an eating disorder, to have problems with food, to have problems with your family, like to, not feel like you belong in your family, or I've been in a few different places that Chantal has been in, and I think a lot of people have. It's really kind of interesting that some people are upset with French Red Girl because she's saying that she cares, or she's going out of her way to really kind of help open Chantal's eyes to, what is happening between her and Dom. And people are saying that she's money hungry, or that she's just doing it for the clout or whatever, or that she's doxing people. And frankly, I just don't know how any of that is really true, because I watch a lot of her content, right? I'm always in her channel, I'm always in her chats, and she multiple times will tell people, like, if you don't have the money for yourself, then please do not super chat me. She does not have a membership program on her channel because she wants to keep her content free. Like, I don't know what about that screams someone who's money hungry. I'm just not really putting the pieces together on that one, sis. And even if it's not like just because she cares about Chantal, like as an individual, but just as a person who is going through a very similar situation that she herself went through, I think it's okay to have like a place in your heart for someone like Chantal. When to see her go through something like this, if you've been in a similar situation and you know what that feels like it's okay to put other things to the side to recognize that what's happening to her isn't right, regardless of who she is in her past or who she is stuck in today. Like, I don't think that you shouldn't have empathy, or that she's not allowed to be considered a victim because of the awful things that she's done. Like, I said it before in this video, but no one deserves to have this happen to them, to be emotionally manipulated and gaslit and physically abused by the person that you love, who says that they love you right back to you. A person who might be your best friend when you wake up in the morning and a complete nightmare before you go to bed. someone who, for all intents and purposes, in all accounts, seemed like the perfect person for you. Like the person that you were really ready to spend your whole life with. Like Chantal has recently said that she's wanting to marry Dom. She wants to fall in love with this man, when really this man has never given her a reason to fall in love with him. He has never shown her any kind of kindness or any kind of like actual genuine love. Like I don't understand like where I mean, and granted, I'm not privy to all the ins and outs of their relationship. Like, nobody is. No one, but those two are. And so we don't know what, he's like when things are good or whatever. But regardless of how good things are or how they treat you when they're not upset or when you're not arguing or whatever, it is completely irrelevant to the one time, let alone maybe the handful of times that he wasn't so good to you or he wasn't so kind or maybe he did something really ugly and probably a little bit unforgivable. But Chantal's gonna keep going back to this man because she needs attention. She needs that validation because she's not someone who can give that to herself. She never learned how to do that for herself, and that's why she was the perfect storm, the perfect situation for someone like this just to come in and take over, take her money, take her joy, her happiness, and her life, or maybe even her whole income. She might lose her YouTube channel if she continues to monetize this foolishness. And I don't think that she's really wrapped her mind around the gravity of the situation. Like, not only is this going to affect your mental health and your emotional well-being, but it might affect your real fucking life, dude. It might affect your ability to keep a roof over you and Pete's. So to really, you got to step back and think about this. Like, is it really worth it? Has he really done anything to deserve you to want to spend the rest of your life with him, to want to give him your whole heart or to give him your whole fucking paycheck, dude? Like, this woman is supporting this man that, honestly has done nothing but get her addicted to drugs and have her sleep on the floor on a fucking mattress on the floor, no sheets, nothing, when there's a perfectly good bed right next to her that he could use, but he has her lay on the floor like an animal. And in my opinion, any man who loves you, any man who is truly worth being with for the rest of their life would never even have conceived the thought of doing half of the things that this man has already done to you in ways that you have suggested that he has even crossed other boundaries with you. Dude, this is not okay. I can't think of anything that is just more childish or more head cheerleader, more pick me than sitting there and defending this man that beats you and calls you fat and gets you addicted to drugs and yells at you and doesn't want anything to do with you unless you have money in your pockets to spend on him. It could never be. I mean, it was me, but it could never be me again. That's just never going to be me again. I mean, unfortunately, some people do have to learn by just making their own mistakes, and I do think that Chantal might be one of those people. I think the way that she treated Shannon for simply trying to call attention to something that isn't right, and when she's just trying to protect a friend, is really appalling and really shows how much Chantal doesn't actually want friends. She doesn't actually want people to care about her and to try to help her out. She just wants yes men. She just wants people to co-sign whatever foolishness she wants to get herself into. Not to get all armchair psychologists with you right now. You'll notice that this chair doesn't even have arms. No armchairs in sight, okay? I really think that Chantal probably doesn't think that she can do better than this. Or maybe that, this attention that she's getting, however, negative it might actually end up being for her, is enough for her. It's what she wants. She has to have a partner. She doesn't know how to be by herself. She's miserable to be by herself because she doesn't love herself. She's never put any time and effort in work into actually loving herself or to working on herself as a person. She has never, ever put any sort of work into improving herself or into working towards a goal or to do anything that could make her feel the slightest bit of self-confidence or the slightest bit of self-worth. Whatever weird daydream that Chantal is living in. Like, I'm never gonna buy into that again because I'm older now and I know what I'm worth. I know that it's not okay for someone to treat me that way. I know that it's not okay for someone to put their hands on me, and if someone puts their hands on me, then we're gonna have a problem. Like, that's not that's not the way that you should be treated, and that's not the kind of love that you should just be accepting just because you don't think that you can get anything else. Like, Dom is one of the first guys that Chantal had ever talked to. So I just don't know. Like, she just didn't really give it a fair chance. Chantal needs to work on herself before she could really have a love that she's looking for. And as much as people don't like to hear that, I think that it is true. Like, you genuinely have to be in a good spot within yourself and be in a position in your life where you're even ready to accept love. If all you are is negative, if all you are is self-deprecating, if all you do is just failure, and you yourself perpetuate your own failure, and you self-destruct and you self-sabotage, then how do you expect to be in a relationship? In a positive relationship, in an actual healthy relationship with communication and boundaries and actual genuine love and friendship and partnership? Like, how do you expect to do those things when you can't even do that for yourself, Chantal? Literally, I don't know what being in that 8-year-long relationship with BB taught you, but in my opinion, that's the standard now. Like, the way she's always talking about how good that relationship was, or how good BB treated her, and then she turns around and goes and acts and goes off with a guy like Dom, a fucking fool like Dom. And you shouldn't want to be with someone like that, Chantal, but she doesn't have that standard for herself, because she doesn't have any standards for herself. And I'm not saying that she deserves this or that anyone deserves it, because you don't. But I'm just saying that she's going to continue to be in this relationship even when she wakes up to the fact that it is an abusive relationship, because she doesn't have any self-respect, and she's never had any self-respect. That's why she's done everything that she has done, why she's uploaded every single thing that she has onto this website, and why she continues to be an absolute train wreck, is because she literally does not know how to treat herself well. She has never known how to take care of herself. She has been coddled and arrested in her development. We talk about it all the time. She's basically a 14-year-old. And that's just that. And I'm going to be real with you guys. Getting out of that relationship took me a very long time. Many years, in fact. And I went back to that person several times, because it's just what felt comfortable to me. It's just what I knew, and it was a way of being, or I don't know. It was just something that I was used to, or something that I definitely thought I deserved, or that I definitely didn't think that I could do any better. I had relationships outside of that person after being away from them for a while that didn't work out, and in my mind it was because they were too good for me, and I was supposed to be with someone who was bad, was just trash. I don't know if any of that is also true for Chantal, but it's just what happened in my situation as well. And as I grew in myself, and as I realized who I am, and that it's just simply not okay to treat me or anyone else like that, I have been away from that person for years now. And I've never looked back. I've never even considered going back, because what do they have to offer me anymore when I have done so much work to be someone that I love, to be someone that takes care of themselves, to be someone who is improving their life constantly? When I've done all of that, why would I ever go back? Why would I ever even consider you? Why are you even an option? You're not even a thought in my head, other than trauma. So yeah, it's not easy, and it takes a lot of work, and those kinds of things are not Chantal's, specialty. And it makes me very concerned for her that this is going to continue to get worse and worse and worse and worse. I don't know what the natural conclusion to this situation is. But I really hope that, with people like French Red Girl trying to, communicate with Chantal and actually extend an olive branch to her and show her that some of these channels that are reaching out, or that are making content on her, are making content because they care about you, or they care about your audience at least, enough to tell them that what you're putting out into this world is not okay, and take it from someone who's definitely been there. I know that this isn't easy, and I know that it's hard, and a lot of times people go back time and time again for years and years and years. It takes them a long time to finally realize that it's not what they want and it's not good for them, and that they do deserve better. And I really hope that that's not what Chantal has to do to be rid of this situation. I hope that she does reach out to French Fried Girl to find out the truth about Dom, whatever that might be, however bad she doesn't want to know or she doesn't want to hear it. I think she needs to. And I think that she knows that she needs to hear it, right? Because I don't think Chantal is like really as stupid as people like want to believe she is. With Chantal, if she really put in effort to change herself, to change her life, to change her health, I would be absolutely 100% supportive of that, and I would congratulate her for that, because that also is not easy. But I think that given the things that we know about Chantal, I'm really not holding my breath on that either. But that was just my thought, just my opinion, and that was my video. So if you like this video, then you can leave it a like. And if you like me, then you can subscribe to this channel, where I will be talking about whatever I want, whenever I want, because this is my channel, and that's what we do here. So subscribe. And as always, Chulas, I want to leave you with a positive note, or give you something, more positive to walk away from after listening to all of this, nonsense, all of this foolishness. And really, that's just, you are worth it. All of those little things that no one has ever given to you before, you are absolutely worth it. And you should never settle for anything less than your absolute dream. There is someone out there for everyone, I like to believe, and you will meet the person who will treat you the way that you want to be treated, or the way that you deserve to be treated. But you have to be in a place where you love yourself, so that when you see that love, you recognize it and you're able to attract it, right? Like, you don't want to go chasing this love. You want to let this love come to you. And I want you to know that you are 100% capable of doing that, of loving yourself and being loved by the world around you. I hope that you have a beautiful, wonderful, amazing rest of your day. Bye, Chulas.